Hey friends, hope you're doing fine. Today I'd like to share with you a trick which might be tremendously helpful for you in your projects. It is a challenge which you might have occurred yourself in the past, and maybe you've solved it, maybe not, and that's why I want to share this with you, because I think it's tremendously valuable. So let me first show you the data. I have an Excel file here, and it's kind of simple. It has persons here, which is Daenerys Targaryen, Khal Drogo, and so on, and also a few anime characters. Okay, so what's the point? The point is we have two dates here, an arrival date and we have a departure date. And the goal is to create basically all the dates between the arrival date and the departure date. So what I want is, I want to extend my original table with new rows, where I have exactly those dates. How do I do that? Now in the past, maybe you've done it manually, or maybe you already have a trick, and if so, please feel free to share it. But if you want to do it, like me in this case, in Power Query, then I do not have any option to use external tools for that, because I would also, or could also think of a few external tools which can help me doing this. But as I said, we will do it in Power Query Editor. So let's first select the sheet itself, and then go to Transform Data. And we just wait, and here we have our Power Query Editor. Yes, quick refresh. Okay, so far so good. Now, I have arrival, departure. These are, in this case, dates. That's fine. So make sure you have the right data type, and then let's create our new column here. So what we need is we go to Add Columns, and then we use the Custom column. The Custom column allows us to write M code. Remember, we have two languages in Power Query. In Power BI. The first one is DAX. DAX is what we use in the front end, so in our report. And we have M. M is the language which we're going to use inside the Power Query editor. So whenever you create your own functions in Power Query, it's M code. So what do we need? Well, we need here a so-called list function, because what we want is we want to create a new list, right? With all the dates between the arrival and the departure date. That's why I can insert here list.dates. There's a list.dates function inside. And one thing which does not work for me, at least here, is obviously let's say, highlighting, or make it easier let's say, function proposal. Let's call it this way, right? Which shows me what kind of functions are there. I'm not sure whether this is on or based on my, in this case, Power BI version. But as far as I know, it works in Excel and Power Query. That's why it's kind of strange that it doesn't work here, but stick with me here. So, as I said, we need to create a list, and the list contains dates. That's why I call list.dates here. Then I open my parentheses, and then I need to specify what is my starting date. Now, the starting date is the arrival. So you can either type arrival or can double click here, then I also get arrival date in here. Then I click on comma. And then I will add the next information. The next information is the amount of days I want. So let's say for an example here, just for the beginning, let's say we use a fixed value. Let's say we put in a 6 in here. And the third one is, I put in a comma. Again, I need a duration in here. That's important. I cannot simply add any kind of number. I need a duration. And the duration should tell me what exactly is the time interval I want to add. So I want to create a list of dates. This dates list should start with the arrival date. Then how many days do I want to create? In this case, 6. And the third option, or the third argument, would be the day itself as a time interval. Because it could also be an hour, or if it's based on time, so it could be a minute or a second. That's why we need a function which is called duration. And the syntax is hash duration. And then you put in 1, 0, 0, 0, and you close the parentheses. And of course the dates function here as well. Now this hash duration, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, simply means 1 day, 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. Now, let's click OK, and let's see what we get. We get a list. And if I click on a list, not on the list directly, but simply click next to the list, I can see that here a new list is created starting from the 1st of May in this case up to the 6th of May. Okay, that looks good to me. But if I click on the next cell, I see that it starts on the third. That is also true here. But also it works up to the 8. And actually it should end here before, right? But the reason for this is, remember, if I click on this little wheel icon here, we fixed it with 6. So we basically need to modify the 6 here as well. So let's just maybe for better reading purposes, let's put this here and this here. And then we can simply change this here. So instead of having a 6 here, we can simply say duration dot days. That's the function we need to use. And then we specify here the departure. So departure, and we simply subtract the arrival. So minus arrival. And then I close the parenthesis here. And no syntax errors, looks good. Click OK. And let's take another look at the list, like that. And I can see, okay, it starts from the 1st, in this case, of May, and it ends up with the 5th of May. And that's true because the departure was the next day, which was the 6th, right? So let's check that out for this one, for example, 6 and 7. So only the 6 is included. Or let's just check out this one here. So starting on the 2nd, the arrival, to the 3rd, to the 4th, and then the 5th here would be the departure date. So exactly what we need. So that seems to work. So we can now click on the 2 arrows here, say expand to new rows, click on it, and you see that now we got all the dates in here. And finally, of course, we like to click here and say this should also be a date in here. So we converted it here, and of course you can double click here and rename this if you want. For me now, I stick to that. I simply say go to home, click on close and apply because we are done. And then we just wait until the data gets loaded. And then we will see that we got exactly what we wanted inside Power BI now. So let's just see, and here we go, there's my table. And if I take a look at the data view here, I see that, selected first, I can see that there's all the data I want, right? So with my date here, and I got all the missing dates between arrival and departure. And that's it basically. Now I can use this and work inside Power BI with that and visualize something. For instance, how many persons were, our guests at each day, for instance, anything like that. So that's it for this video. So hopefully that was helpful to you. Please feel free to try it. And if you can use this, please share where you use it. And as well, please give this video a like. And also please consider subscribing to the channel. It helps a lot. And also, of course, is a motivation to create more videos. So that's it. Stay safe and hopefully see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.